I guess the time has now come to unfold for 2022, as now the Galaxy Z Fold 4 is official and is said to be Samsung's most productive Galaxy device overall, especially in regards to their flagship foldable range. We managed a very brief, quick first hands-on to see if it lives up to the claim. Hi, Ben from SamMobile. If you enjoy new and exclusive videos like this, then be sure to like, subscribe, and of course, turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos on YouTube with SamMobile TV. Here is our quick hands-on with the new Galaxy Z Fold 4 and, of course, what's new. Design and build quality of the Z Fold 4 looks to build on what feels very familiar to the previous model, which it's not a bad thing at all, but with new refinements to the style, design, and especially usability. We have two new colors for the Z Fold 4 in addition to the already phantom black, which are grey-green as the signature hero color, and beige, which almost mirrors an off-white color and happens to be my favorite color of the three. And of course, they all follow a much nicer, clean matte finish all around. There is a slight weight reduction down to 263 grams and the use of Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus like found on the S22 series, and a replay and repeat using armor aluminium for the frame. Most importantly, as still part of the only set of foldables to have protection against the elements, we do have an IPX8 rating, which rates the Z Fold 4 for water resistance up to 1.5 meters of fresh water for up to 30 minutes. But with no protection against dust yet again, as we are seeing that with moving parts on the foldable, this is still a challenge. We will get to the details of the display next, but with my brief hands-on with the Z Fold 4, which give or take was really only around 30 to 40 minutes, it does feel right at home, especially if you're coming from the Fold 3. The metal frame is sporting a glossy finish, which I do wish it was a matte finish like before, and although lighter in feel, I noticed this more as I did have the Fold 3 next to me. I personally feel when using it in isolation for muscle memory, it doesn't really feel that different if you're comparing it next to the Fold 3 in terms of the weight, but indeed, it is good that we have it. At the moment, I'm indifferent to how the flat edges of the rounded curves with it at the top look and feel, but only time will tell if I prefer this or feel the same way about the Fold 3 as before. Overall, the Fold 4 is looking good. In terms of the size and form factor of both the cover display and inner folding display, the Z Fold 4 probably sees the biggest difference and changes here compared to the previous Fold 3. How different are these changes, you ask? Well, we finally have a wider cover display by an extra 2.7mm, resulting in a new aspect ratio of 23.1 by 9 compared to the previous 24.5 by 9, and a slightly higher resolution of 2316 by 904. Again, not the close to 20 by 9 or even a 21 by 9 we're hoping for or maybe even expecting, but the difference is in the details and could finally be the difference in making the outer cover display usable for longer periods of time before the urge to unfold and begin using the much larger inner display. Speaking of the inner display, we see it given a slimmer bezels treatment like a barber would do, a clean skin fade, which does result in a much more immersive viewing experience. But personally, what was more impressive to me on site was the improvement to the new under display camera, the UDC. As seen on camera, yes, when you are intentionally looking for it, you will see it there, of course. But for me personally, in the short time using it, I subconsciously did not notice it at all compared to the early days of the Fold 3. And in fact, actually when using it throughout my time when I had the Fold 3, this is a great first impression for me as a big fan of the inner display, as I do feel that's what truly makes it immersive alongside the slimmer bezels. That being said, what was still noticeable was the inner crease. I can say that, look, the overall saving grace of using a Fold series is that your physical interaction with the inner crease is very minimal, if not at all in most cases, which is one of the reasons why I preferred that over the Flip series. But to see no visible improvement to the inner workings of the crease is unfortunate so far. Is it a deal breaker? No, but it would have been nice to see an improvement here when it comes to the visibility. Technically speaking, The inner display is still blessed with the same S Pen support as the Fold 3, meaning you will need the special S Pen Fold Edition or the S Pen Pro to work on the inner display, and there is still no S Pen support on the outer display, or taking it even further, there's still no ability to set independent refresh rate for both the outer and inner display, which of course both do top out at a smooth 120Hz thanks to Samsung's adaptive tech on their dynamic AMOLED displays. The inner display in particular does now range between 1Hz all the way up to 120Hz, while the outer does range between 48Hz and 120Hz. Now, as the one would say, it's a weird case of deja vu, and maybe more time spent with it could indicate that the new display experience on the Fold 4 is not just a glitch in the matrix, but potentially the real deal. For the specs and performance, the Z Fold 4 is powered by the cutting-edge Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 on TSMC's 4nm process with 12GB of RAM and 256, 512 and 1TB of internal storage with no micro SD card support. The main biometric unlock is still using a fingerprint sensor built into the power button as before, with the convenient face unlock in there as well. In terms of the battery capacity, we are still at 4,400 milliamps, and we do have faster charging with the 25-watt charging for super fast charging, wireless charging and power share. One thing Samsung did drive home and state is that this is now Samsung's most powerful mobile gaming device, showcasing just how proud they are for using the latest from Qualcomm. Let's just hope we get the same energy come the Galaxy S23 series next year. If we counter-argue the fact that the display and the form factor is the biggest upgrade to the Z Fold 4, then the camera hardware is on the top contender for the biggest and probably the most important upgrade needed to finally justify the move from your traditional solid-state smartphone over to innovation when it comes to the foldables and what they bring. For the outer cover display and the back of the phone, think of everything that is great about the S22 Plus hardware specs and features for the camera brought over to the Z Fold 4, but with all the flexibility that comes with photo and video capture on a foldable thanks to the flex hinge. With the rear cameras, we have a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 50 megapixel main sensor capable of 8K 24 frames a second, and finally a proper 3x 10 megapixel optical zoom, just like on the S22 Plus, backed with what should be the same 10 megapixel selfie as well. Now, the under display camera is still 4 megapixels with an f1.8 aperture, 2 micron pixel size, meaning we are still limited to 1080p. And although still not the full S-series ultra hardware surrounded by the massive 108 megapixel sensor and the crazy 10x optical zoom, this is still a step forward and finally brings the Fold 4 into the current generation of Samsung's imaging tech. Due to restrictions at the time, we can't show any samples right now, but best believe we are really excited to test this out. As correctly anticipated, the Fold 4 is running One UI 4.1.1 with Android 12L. Yes, you heard right. Samsung are dubbing this to be running Android 12L, and as much as on the surface level does look like everything is pretty much the same, we at SamMobile are all things related to One UI, and once we do have our review unit in studio for testing and review, we shall do a full comparison to see what is new. For now, with the brief details we've been given, here's what's new. We now have the addition of the new taskbar, which simulates a more desktop-like experience in the native non-DeX UI for quicker access to your apps as well as app switching. This can of course be disabled in the settings as well. When enabled, you can even set app pairs up to 3 apps for quicker multitasking for your favorite apps that you use on a regular basis. Android 12 looks to build on better optimizations with larger display and native core apps like the Microsoft Suite, as well as the native Google apps like Meet, and even third-party apps like Facebook and WhatsApp, which do adopt and adapt when Flex Hinge is active. The camera UI also benefits here as well. Now we have access to longer zoom range with Zoom Lock active alongside the Flex Hinge. You can have a much larger view of the Zoom Lock window for even better visibility when Space Zoom is active. Be on standby for a deeper dive of One UI 4.1.1 with Android 12L very soon. The Z Fold 4 at this early stage looks to be at the oracle point of potentially not being the one. Now, movie references aside, it could prove to be on a path of not just proving to us as potential buyers and also fans of the Fold range, but also to itself that it is willing to walk the path and prove that it is still the one and only ultimate foldable device, giving the best and ultimate folding screen experience. Priced at £1,649, £1,769 and £2,019 respectively, the Fold 4 is still up there. What's your thoughts on the Z Fold 4? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. For the latest news in the world of Samsung Daily, be sure to visit us at SamMobile.com. And for the latest videos on YouTube with SamMobile TV, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll see you next time.